Thank you for that humble introduction. Sorry. So very kind of you. I wouldn't call myself a pro. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know once you can see it. Okay. Okay. Let's let it come up. And Anil, can you try stop sharing for a second? Maybe that's why it doesn't allow. Yeah. Okay. So can you all hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to like turn off the video while I present, because sometimes the bandwidth goes crazy when I have both. So that's okay. Okay, so you should be seeing my slide right now. Let me go ahead. So I believe Anil already gave you a small introduction about myself. So I've been in IT for about 21 years now. I'm a Salesforce practice director with UST, based out of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for about 12 years now. I started with Marketing Cloud a couple of years back. Okay. So I also lead the Marketing Cloud group in Malaysia, and fortunately got nominated as one of the marketing champions last year. So I also do like blogging and posting videos, like Anil said, on SFMC topics, occasionally around LWC and few other Salesforce as well. But yeah, marketing is definitely very close to the heart. So please do feel free to connect me over LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm always happy to network and chat. So talking about Marketing Cloud, there's a lot of features that that we probably cannot cover that in 30 minutes. So I'll try to cover as much as possible very briefly, give you a small idea of what it is, and then I'll also give you a link to some of the video resources that I actually blogged recently. It's a large collection of a lot of video content that, about various features in Marketing Cloud that you can go and learn at your own pace, and hopefully that will get you started into marketing, especially if you are new to Marketing Cloud. Okay. And if you have any questions, please do feel to put that in the Q&A. I'll also ask a few questions in between, so I would like this to be interactive, so you can just put your responses in the chat window. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with a few basics about marketing. Okay, so most of you have heard of these terms like sales and marketing, right? Can few of you tell me what's the difference between sales and marketing? Just very briefly, just put it on chat, maybe a few of you. What's the difference between sales and marketing? Or do you think it's the same? Okay, nobody wants to try? Keep in mind, we have vouchers at the end.
Jasneet is saying marketing is about branding.
Okay, good.
Sunil said yes. I don't know if he's agreeing with Jasneet. Manisha thinks that marketing is making people interested. It's different than sales.
Yep.
Sagar is saying marketing is like advertising.
Cool, cool. Okay. So which one is more important, would you say? Sales or marketing? Because we are in a marketing group, I'm pretty sure people are going to vote for marketing. Marketing is more important. Okay.
Sagar is saying marketing is more important.
Okay.
Sonia thinks marketing is first, then sales. Okay. Abhishek Verma thinks with the help of marketing, you can sell your product. Cool. And Bhupender thinks that both at the same time, but I guess marketing.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, let me quickly cover so modern marketing is about understanding your customer needs, identifying various user personas based on data that we gather, and creating a brand awareness, like most of you said, creating that awareness about your products, your services, and creating attractive content for customers, and then engaging your customers through various channels in a personalized manner. Okay, so that personalization aspect is very, very important. Okay, so if somebody tells you something, or they try to sell something to you, or not sell, actually brand something, or advertise something to you, if it's more personalized, something that's relevant to you, then you will feel more appreciated, and you will feel it'll always stick to your memory, right? So marketing, the goal is to get more and more people to choose your brand over the competition. So, and once you have qualified the leads, okay, that you've got some people interested in your products, that's when sales actually comes in, and they will focus on closing the opportunity. Okay, so sales also plays a very crucial role. It's like once marketing is done, they are the ones who actually come in, they build the trust with the team, the customers, and then they have to build that rapport going forward for repeat business. So in most of the successful organizations, you will see like, they actually have to work hand in hand and not as competing teams. So sometimes you have found that, sales and marketing are always competing at each other, or sometimes they combine that into one team, but they are two different distinct roles and they have like pure proper goals that they need to like focus on. Okay. So we've also come across the term B2B and B2C marketing. So can you guys quickly tell me like what is B2B and B2C marketing? Any idea? Okay, business to customer, business to business. Okay.
Sagar, that's a full form. What is the difference when you say business to customer and business to business? Can you also mention the difference?
Anybody would like to take a stab at like, what do you mean by that? Corporate customer versus individual customer. Okay, very good. Okay, so I'll try to give you a very brief example for this one based on some examples. Like most of you said, B2B stands for business to business and primarily like for organization to organization. Okay, when you do marketing for that, then B2C is like for end consumers, from business to consumers, right? B2B primarily relies on lead nurturing and management. Okay, the reason why that is like I'll give you an example. Like for instance, you guys all know organization like Dell, right? So they sell like laptops, desktop servers, and etc. And they sell it to large organizations also. Okay, so like let's say like I have a company that is actually requiring 10,000 laptops for my employees. Okay, so it's not a small decision that that as a company that I would need to make to like go and purchase. I can actually look at multiple companies. It can be Apple, it can be Dell, it could be HP. There are a lot of different companies that actually sell laptops. So then why should I go for them? So the marketing team is very focused on ensuring like they brand their products. Like so once they get that initial set of leads like from organizations, okay, that there is such a large deal size coming in, then they will pass it on to the sales team to go and close that deal. End consumers, like the B2C model is where like like people like us, if we want to buy something, like for instance, if I want to go and buy a meal from McDonald's, that is like a McDonald's, like I would have been fascinated by a new ad that came for McDonald's, right? So, or I got probably an SMS message or an email came like, okay, you get a 20% discount voucher if you go and purchase this week. Okay, so that is more of a B2C kind of marketing. Okay, you will not do lead nurturing for like somebody to like come and buy a burger from McDonald's, right? So that is different. Lead nurturing is more done like when there is a larger size deal, and there is a lesser number of leads for that. So there's two different types of marketing that happens. Okay, so now can you guys tell me like what kind of marketing is Salesforce Marketing Cloud? Like is it B2B or B2C? Okay, B2C. Anybody saying B2B? Everybody agrees it is B2C? Okay, B2B is Pardot. Correct. That was going to be my next question. So which one is B2B? So Salesforce has two marketing platforms. One is Marketing Cloud, which is formerly ExactTarget that got acquired, and that is B2C. Okay, and it has multiple channels. Like so the main point is like in B2C marketing, you have a lot of different channels that you can reach out to your end consumers. Okay. B2B is like, they will have few channels and they will actually reach out to the primary goal is to do lead nurturing and lead management. Okay. And then for that, we have Pardot. Okay. All right. So now we will get into overview of Marketing Cloud. Okay. So Marketing Cloud, it's a totally different platform. Like Anil was mentioning earlier, many of you probably might be like very familiar with our current Salesforce developer org. Okay. So the Salesforce developer orgs, like you can have Sales Cloud, you can have Service Cloud, Communities, Commerce, everything you can actually have like based on feature licenses, you can enable that and then you can use it, right? Even Pardot is actually a managed package that you installed on top of the Sales Cloud instance. But Marketing Cloud is a whole different entity. Like it's not a managed package that you install on top of on your Salesforce org. It's a different org altogether. Like it's a different application. Okay, it is also cloud or web based. Okay, you have a separate login. It has to be provisioned for you, and then you can go in and like look at all the different tools. Okay, and there is integration available, which I'll talk about very briefly later on in the slides as well. Okay, so over here, like this is a slightly dated diagram, but I think most of the content is still relevant. Like if you look at like these are the various features or products that we have within Marketing Cloud. Okay, and they're primarily divided into two areas called studios and builders. Okay, now studios are primarily referring to channels, the various different channels that you can reach out to your customers, right? Like email, mobile, social, advertising, and web. Okay, and builders are actually like tools that is within Marketing Cloud that can actually help you across these channels. Okay, so and Journey Builder is kind of like a special tool that actually also works across these channels, like specifically for like customer engagement. One thing that you don't see here that is quite widely used is going to be Automation Studio as well, and that is, even though the name is their studio, it comes under the Journey Builder umbrella, but then it is actually used across different channels as well. Okay, so we will go into a few of these common areas in the subsequent slides. Let me quickly show you this. Okay, can you see the marketing dashboard now? Can somebody confirm that they can see the marketing dashboard? Yes. Okay, great. Okay, just kind of testing. So when I log into Marketing Cloud, this is what the UI will look like. Okay, you will see like Marketing Cloud on the top, like, and then this is the dashboard that as a marketer, when I come into like Marketing Cloud, depending on my access, I will be able to see the various tools at the top. So you will see like all the studios here that I have access to will be actually shown. Then I have the different builders that I have, and then they have Einstein and AppExchange if I have any AppExchange apps that I want to like deploy as well. Okay, so this is the basic the dashboard that I would see. I can go and see like what are the recently sent emails, content builders, journeys, automations that are running, all those like overview that I can actually look at it from the dashboard part. And then depending upon which tool I want to like engage in, I can go and click each one and then go into those and start working on those. Okay, so so just like how we have the Salesforce org concept, like so most of you have developer orgs, right? So it's kind of like a standalone org like that you have, that you can go in and you can customize Salesforce, or you can develop in Salesforce, right? And you also have different types of editions like professional, enterprise, ultimate, etc. Right? So Marketing Cloud also has different org and edition types. Okay, so the common one that you need to understand is like the Enterprise 2.0. Is what most of the when you actually develop with customers, like this is the one that you will actually come across the most. Okay, and how it actually functions is there is something called business units. So the concept is that you have different business units that you can have, and each one is a separate org. They are very alike, like so whatever features you have in one business unit will be definitely replicated in each of the business unit. The only difference is there is one parent one at the very top. Okay, and the others will be like below that. So you can have a hierarchical model, and I can have like a multi-step hierarchy within that, saying okay, this is my parent org, and then they have multiple business units under that. Each one is a separate Marketing Cloud instance. You can think of it that way. Okay, and you can decide how many business units you want. Like you have to purchase that as well. Like every org business unit that you need, when you purchase up an instance of Marketing Cloud, you have to tell the AE like how many business units I need. And how to set that up and etc. That you will work with your team to set that up. Now you can have this. The reason for having different business units or entities is primarily, let's say if you're doing business across different regions, geographies, or if you have different departments who are actually looking at from a process perspective. For instance, let me show you very quickly here. I have here 4 different business units. So I've kept UST Global INC as like the parent business unit. Okay, that's my parent entity. And then I have one for India, one for Malaysia, and one I have kept for training. So in a realistic sense, let's say I have organization that is actually functioning out of Malaysia, one in India, one in let's say Australia. The business process could be very different, right? Our marketing, the way that we have our marketing content could be very different. There will be something that is shared across all the 3 areas, but then there will be restrictive content specifically for each area. In that particular case, I will have the common assets and everything stored on the parent level, and then whatever I need to segregate into the various different regional ones, I will have it under those regional business units. Okay, so this is just to give an idea of how that org model is for Marketing Cloud. Okay, and then everything we have to always talk about data. Okay, so now my question to you is, all of you work with Salesforce, right? So in Salesforce CRM, what is your primary source of data? How do you store data in Salesforce, or the basic building blocks of data in Salesforce? Please don't say contact, because I've written that over here. Okay, good. Megastress is objects. Objects. Everybody says objects. Any others? Great. Okay. Yeah. So definitely agree on that part. So the primary building blocks that you would find is objects, and then you would go ahead and customize that, and then you would bring in whatever you need. That's how you build it out in Salesforce. Okay. Now in Marketing Cloud, it's all about your end consumers or end customers, right? So we call that as a contact. Okay, so you can have the profile information, their demographics, their preferences, behavioral, transactional data, everything about the customer. You can have that stored in Marketing Cloud. And one thing you need to know is we don't treat it like Salesforce or like some other tools where you want to bring in a lot of data warehouse data and all that into Marketing Cloud. The best practice is always to bring in only relevant data that you need for a marketing purpose. Okay, so that is something that you always later on, if you ever go and work in Marketing Cloud, please keep that in mind. You are not expected to bring in large set of data into Marketing Cloud and do ETL transformations and all that. Okay, and in Marketing Cloud, in order to store this contact data, they have something called data extensions. It's very similar to SQL tables. If you're familiar with SQL or SQL, it's very similar to that. You can go easily create a table. You can define what are the fields you want, and you can store that based on the data types, and then you can use them in your various business processes in Marketing Cloud. Okay, and they also have one more type of storage, which is called subscriber list, and that is only used in email Studio. Okay, and that is because it was there from the ExactTarget days, it was being used, and that is very I would say not very user friendly in terms of very flexible data. So it has the same set of columns and the data types, so you cannot simply once you have a list, all the lists that you create will be exactly the same structure. Okay, you can only have data additional data in that. That's all. But data extensions are not that way. You can create different types of data extensions with respect to whatever columns you want. You can it can easily differ. So if I go in here, I'll quickly show you what a data extension looks like. So this is a customer DE, a sample DE. You can see I've created various columns here. I've given the length, the data types, as you can see, text, email, date field, there is Boolean, all those things are there, right? If I go in and I want to see the records, it will show me all the records as well. So you can see I can populate. I can easily go and add a record if I want to. I can populate this, and you can use it in automations, journeys, etc. Okay, so this is a very simple way of if you want to go and create a data extension, I can easily do that in a few minutes. Okay. Okay, so now we will look at some of the common engagement channels that marketers use in Marketing Cloud. Okay, and there's quite a few, but these are the most common ones that we can look at today. So Email Studio, most of you are very familiar with email marketing, right? That's one of the most widely used forms of marketing. I'm pretty sure most of you have received some form of email marketing. Even if there's junk emails, you can go check your Gmail, you will find a flurry of them in your spam folder probably, right? So Email Studio is primarily used for email marketing, and that's where you can go and configure, test, and send emails out to your contacts. Okay, you can send both. There's two types of emails that you can send. One is commercial and one is transactional. So commercial is the primary one that you use for marketing. Okay, marketing purposes. The other one is more transaction related. Let's say you placed an order, so automatically the order confirmation should go, or maybe you updated your profile and you want an email to go out saying, okay, these are the latest changes that you made to your profile. So that is all based on a transaction, right? And commercial emails should only be sent to customers who have opted in to receive this marketing communication. Okay, and these folks are called subscribers in Email Studio. Okay. So the term subscribers, you will come across contacts and subscribers when you learn Marketing Cloud. Subscribers term is actually specifically, it's the same as contacts, but when you use it under Email Studio, you'll call it as subscribers. Okay, because they have actually opted in to receive email communications from you. And there's definitely legal laws CAN spam and few other regional laws that you need to adhere to. Otherwise, what will happen is if you simply do as you please and send out emails to people, they will blacklist you. There will be spam filters, and there is laws in place so that people don't send out emails just like that. Okay, so there is always going to be a physical address and an unsubscribe link at the bottom. If you haven't noticed that, I would urge you to go and check that out. In your Gmail today, you will see certain emails that have come in, marketing emails. You will see at the bottom they will have an unsubscribe link where you can click. Okay, I don't want to subscribe from you anymore. They'll probably have a physical address and all that. Okay. And you can also track how your email has, let's say you sent out an email to a lot of your customers, right? You can see how it performed, how many actually got delivered, did some of them bounce, how many people opened the email, okay, how many clicked on the links that you have provided in the email. So all these things you can actually track in Email Studio. Okay. So I'll quickly show you how Email Studio looks like. So this is like Email Studio. If you see here, like you'll see email. Okay, when I come into Email Studio, you can see like this is the overview tab where I have actually like the various content builder emails, templates, and everything that I've stored in. And let me show you like some of the emails that I've actually created here as a sample. Okay, so few of them have been approved. So if I have an approved email, all I need to do is I can go ahead and if I want to preview and test, I can test it. But if I want to send it, I can go ahead and manually just start sending it. Okay, so as a marketer, if I want to go and do a manual send, I would just go ahead and click that and then actually start defining and then start sending it out. Okay, I guess the system doesn't like me doing that right now. So let me go back. Your emails. Okay. Let's try this one more time to see if it works. Yes, it comes up. So there is, you can see like the preview of the email is here, and then it will actually show you what has been saved as part of the email earlier, the subject, the header, and everything. And because it is an approved email, it will not let you edit it. So that's one of the features that you have here. So content can be created by a separate team. Okay, and the people who actually send out the emails can be segregated as well. So you will not be allowed to if the process, that's how you want to set it up, you can have people who are sending out the emails not to edit it. You can have it only a specific content team can go and edit it, and they can get approvals on emails before they send it out. So all these can actually be set up in Marketing Cloud. And then I can go and select the audience, like who I need to send it to using a data extension or a list, and then configure and review, and I can send it out. Okay. And I talked about tracking, right? So this is also in email. You can see under tracking. Let's say I sent out an email. So this is a dummy one that I sent out last year. So you can see like it was delivered to 4 people, how many people opened it, and how many clicks were there. All those things you can actually see that as part of tracking as well. Okay. So in real cases, you will see this is let's say people usually send it to 100,000 or 500,000 or 1 million customers. So your data will be actually very huge in that particular case, and you want to know how many actually got delivered. Was there a proper delivery, and did a lot of bounce happen? Did people unsubscribe? So all these are very important in terms of metrics for us to see, review, and then change something so the next time we don't have that many issues, and they actually gets delivered properly to the end consumer. Okay. Okay, going back to our slide. So Mobile Studio, this is one of the other channels that you can reach out to your customers on. Okay, as the word suggests, it's mobile related, and in mobile there's actually 3 different types of sub applications within Mobile Studio. Mobile Connect is the one that actually you use to send and manage SMS communications with your customer. Okay, and for this, this is actually again a paid feature. You have to register short and long codes for the respective countries. You have to configure keywords and all that. So some of you might have probably received SMS marketing messages on your mobile. So it all, if you use Mobile Studio, you can use this to manage that. Mobile Push, on the other hand, is for app notifications or inbox messages. So if you have a mobile app that you have actually installed, and if you want to send push notifications or any inbox messages, that is where you can use Mobile Push. Now, Mobile Push is actually very interesting because it has additionally 2 very cool features called geofencing and beacon services. Okay, what they actually refer to as geofencing is, let's say you are actually within a GPS coordinate area, maybe a 3-kilometer radius that they are actually looking at of a particular store. So let's say I'm within 3 kilometers of a Baskin-Robbins store. Okay, and if I have Baskin-Robbins app installed and they have this geofencing available, they will detect, the application will automatically detect that I have entered their particular radius. So if it is configured, they probably have the app notification sent to me saying, you will get a 30% discount if you come to Baskin-Robbins in the next 2 hours and purchase, ice cream from us. So that is a very cool incentive, that gets people to know, okay, that there is, potential customers in your area, and you want them to come and, take that from you. So there's also beacon services. So those are let's say you can have Bluetooth enabled devices, sensors actually kept within a store area, or probably like stadiums and things like that, to figure out if people are coming into a specific area, and then you want to send them a marketing message when they enter or leave. So that is also possible. Within supermarkets, if you want to have that, that's something that people are actually looking for in future as well. So this under mobile push, you should be able to configure this. Group Connect is the third one under this Mobile Studio set. This is primarily for chat communications. They've enabled it for Line Messenger and FB Messenger through APIs. I haven't tried it out, but the support is there. Okay. And recently we've introduced WhatsApp. I haven't had a chance to take a look at it, but I don't think it's under Group Connect. I've seen it being populated under Journey Builder, how you can use WhatsApp and all that. So probably in a few weeks or months, we should have some videos coming out, how you can set it up, and then how you can actually use WhatsApp communications for marketing as well. Okay. So let me quickly show you how the mobile area looks like. So this is Mobile Connect. As you can see, the various types that you can actually create. If I want to create an outbound message to send an SMS message, and let's say if an inbound message is coming in from a subscriber and you want to create an automatic response, you can use that text response. Mobile opt-in is if you want to ask people to opt in to your as a SMS marketing messages in future. You always have to get an opt-in. Okay, that is very important. You cannot simply keep on spamming people with SMS messages, right? And then if you want to send an SMS and say, do you want to receive email marketing from us? So that is also possible. Okay. And this is the one I was talking about under mobile push. So you can send a regular app push notification or to their inbox. And then this is the geofencing one that I was talking about. When somebody enters into a location or somebody exits from a location, or if you want to use the beacon services. So these actually require some amount of development coding. So there is some libraries that you have to use and set up and all that. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have any of these paid and set up, so very difficult to show. But there is probably a few videos I believe on that that has happened in the past where we can probably share that with you guys to see how it's actually used if you're interested. Okay. And this one is the Group Connect. So I just simply type the sample here to see if I wanted to send a line message, how would it look like. So you have to set up a lot of stuff here before you can start using it. But just to show you a sample, if I type in here, this is how that message would look like if you want to send it out to Line Messenger. Okay. Okay. The third one that we look at is Web Studio. So Web Studio, as the name says, is more browser-based channel for marketing, right? And people do not realize it, but this is very, very important that you can use along with email and mobile, and you can create landing pages. Okay, and then you can either use the content builder or the legacy classic editor that we have in SFMC to be able to build the content. So one of the valid use cases that you can think of is, let's say you send somebody an email, okay, or an SMS, and then you want them to direct them to a particular website where you want them to enter additional details, or go and make a purchase or something like that. So all those things you can actually redirect them to this landing page, or a page that you created in Cloud Pages in marketing, okay, in Marketing Cloud. So for that you can really use this, and then it's very useful. It's very developer friendly, where you can actually go and customize that using AMP script, SSJS, server-side JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and all that. Okay, so it's a very, very powerful tool that you can use along with emails and SMS. So this is a sample landing page that I just put together. As you can see here, there is we can just drag and drop content from here, like smart forms with a header, footer, and everything. I can add in more content if I want to. So if I go to the actual page, this is how it looked like. I can actually I can give this particular link embedded in an email. I can redirect, when somebody clicks on that, they will come here. If you enter this data, it will get populated into a data extension in marketing, which I can use later as kind of a lead form. Then I can send them multiple. So if I choose newsletter and events, okay, then that means they will be subscribed to a newsletter and events communications in future. If they don't click on any of this, I don't want, and they want to unsubscribe and all this, if you want, I can specify that also. You can highly customize this. Okay. All right, so coming to the last one on the engagement channel, Social Studio. So most of you are very savvy on Twitter, LinkedIn, and all that. So Social Studio is it was formerly called Radian6, and now it's part of the Marketing Cloud suite. you can use this to monitor your social accounts like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Right, and then users will be assigned to specific workspaces, and you have to configure social accounts that that is part of your business. Like okay, so if I have a company, I can have like one or more social accounts that we'll actually deal with, and then we can actually go publish our messages using those social accounts. I can listen in and see like, okay, what is happening currently on my social account. I can engage with the customers who are actually responding to me on the social channels, and I can also analyze and see like what is the sentiment analysis. How is my business doing right now? Are people talking good about it? How is the sentiments now working out? What do we need to focus on, etc. So it's very, very powerful in that sense. Okay. Let me try to see. Okay, so this is a social studio that I've actually had for a few of my accounts. So I've had a Twitter, one of my YouTube channels as well. And then what I did is I actually put in a topic profile here called Jaipur Marketers. Okay, and I said show me all the content which has a hashtag Jaipur Marketers. So since I did the last time I looked at it, there were 4 new posts. So right now I can see Viber has posted on this one. So you can see so this one is showing a positive intent, and he's he's an influencer with 53 points. Okay, so these are very, very, and if I want, I can actually go ahead and like it from here. So if I want, I can go ahead and do the like and all that. I can reply all those things. I can actually do it from here itself. Okay? So it's very, very powerful tool where you can use it you can do a publish, if I want to publish certain posts from using one of my social account, one or more of my social accounts, I can use that, and there will be a calendar post, and you can see okay what is scheduled for this week. So if there are multiple people working on it, they can actually, you're having a team working on it, they can go and view it and then work on it together. Okay. Engage is this tab, like I said, you can engage with your customers as they are posting to the social channels. Analyze, you can actually go and review each of these sentiment analysis and all that. You can do all that in Social Studio. Okay, I'm going a little fast because we have quite a bit more to cover. So if you do have questions, please do put that on chat. We'll try to cover that towards the end. Okay. So we saw some of the common channels that we reach out to customers on, right? So we also look at the cross-channel tools, the builders that we talked about earlier. So these are some of the common ones that you will definitely use if you're using Marketing Cloud. Content Builder is where you actually create content or assets for your org, right? And the whole reason of having that is you can create content that you can use across different channels. So if you have a separate team who's responsible for content creation, they will work on creating the templates, the content blocks, branding materials, and then each of the channel marketers can use that for their communication. So let's say you have a proper branding header footer, you can create it once, people can use it for emails, their mobile landing pages, so it can be reused. So you don't have to keep on replicating every time. You don't have to keep on doing new work for that. Okay, so it avoids a lot of rework, and then you can actually share that across business units if required as well. Okay. So let me show you how content looks like. So earlier we saw the email in Email Studio, right? But if you go into Content Builder, under content, this is how it look like. So all these are small building blocks. So you can see here, if I want to add something, I can just quickly come in and add it. So I can just drag and drop. So what the team does is they will actually create content blocks like this, the content team, and they will keep it ready. So they will probably lock it so you cannot edit it, but then you can just, all you need to do as a email marketer is pull whatever relevant content you want for your email and then go and preview it and send it out. So you will see here whatever I put in, you should be able to see that. And then if I see that, if I go in and cycle through it, I can see how that email looks like for each of the subscribers that I have. Very, very cool feature. Okay. Coming back to the next one, that is Contact Builder. So like I said earlier, the primary data that we have in Marketing Cloud is your contact, right? And so Contact Builder is where we manage all the contacts in Marketing Cloud. And you'll be able to see the list of all the opted-in contacts by various channels. You can see their attributes. You can even delete them if they're not needed. And you can create and manage the data using data extensions. You can look at the integrations that are happening if you have that integration set up. You can look at the various groups that you have created with data extensions and how they're linked to each other as well. Okay, so this is a very, very important area in marketing because the entire data structure actually resides over here. So if I have multiple data extensions like these, the customer one that you saw earlier, but if I have order data, they need to relate to each other so you can use them in journeys or automations, right? So for that, where do you set that linkage up? So that can be done in Contact Builder. So under Data Designer, there's something called Activate Groups. You will be able to do this linkage, so that later on, when you use them in journeys, you will be able to go and fetch that relational data for a customer. Okay, so in true sense, you would probably want to send an email to a customer, but sometimes you have to say, okay, I want to fetch the customers who ordered this particular product from us in the last 30 days. So unless and until I have that particular data here linked, it's very hard for me to do that linkage, right? So you have to set that up over here so that you can use it in your marketing communications. Okay. So the next two, very important from a marketing automation standpoint. Okay, and once you start working on Marketing Cloud, these are the two most commonly used tools that you will probably come across. Automation Studio, like the name sounds like, it's to automate certain tasks within Marketing Cloud. Okay, there are specific activities in Automation Studio, and you can use these various activities in a workflow, and they can either be you can run it once, or you can schedule it multiple times based on a timing that you need. You can either have it as scheduled in that way, or you can trigger it based on a file. Whenever a file is actually dropped into your FTP folder, if you want to trigger an automation, that also can happen. Okay, so there are file-based as well. There's other data-driven automations as well, and then so let's say I have. Let me show you an example here under automation. So here you will see this is the different activities that I can create in a automation. I can send an email activity. There's an import file transfer. So there are different types that you can use. The script is something where you can do programming. You can write in server-side JavaScript code to do. So you can even do SQL queries. You can do file transfers and filters. So if I want to have a file, an external file that is being sent to me with some product or promotion information, okay, and I want to bring that into Marketing Cloud every week, so it will be placed on our FTP folder. Okay, so I can use a file transfer to go and say run this every week, go fetch the file from the FTP. Once it comes into one of the folders in Marketing Cloud, it's called Safehouse. From there, import that data, read that data, and there is a mapping provided in this particular activity which says populate this data extension using the data that we just got from the file that was transferred in. And then I will say use that data extension data to send out emails to our customers based on that. If I want to add additional thing in between, for some segmentation purposes, I can add a SQL query. Let's say after the data came in, I need to do some additional segmentation, saying okay, pull in only certain data based on some query parameters that I want, and then I will get a smaller subset of data, and then I can send the email based on that. So all of this I can actually schedule in an automation. One after the other, this will run. And if there's any errors or something, you will get notified. So this is very, very useful for you to go and schedule some automations that can run maybe once a day, or once an hour, or if you want to do it once a week, periodically, however you want, you can set it up. Okay? Very, very useful to have automations in your Marketing Cloud instance. Okay. And the last one that you have here, Journey Builder, definitely something you will use if you are using Marketing Cloud. This is a one-to-one customer engagement tool. Okay, so most of this, like you said, whatever we saw is how you actually reach out to customers in bulk, right? So now, if you want, what if I want to personalize each person, how I actually monitor how each customer is actually interacting with you. If I want to say, okay, this person get this person into a particular journey, okay, and you can see how he's actually behaving. Let's say you sent him an email. Did he click that email? Okay, did he open that email, or did he just ignore it? Okay, if so, what do I want him to do next? Do I send him a reminder email? Can I send him a notification, or should I create a task for somebody in sales to follow up with him? All these you can do as part of your journey. So it's very, very useful tool. And if you have integration set up with Marketing Cloud, you will be able to even update your Sales and Service Cloud objects from the journey itself. Like I said, let's say you tried reaching out to a customer, a contact or a lead from your Sales Cloud instance, and if you do not have, or maybe they did not open, and you want somebody in sales, your salesperson to reach out to them, you can create a task for that person also. Okay, so this is how a journey looks like a sample journey that I created. So you can see you can take an entry source from various areas, and you can see these are all different activities. I can send him a welcome email, and then I can say, did that person open the email? If the person opened, okay, great, then send him across different paths. If that person did not open, send him a reminder email, right? And then again check. If not, I can say I can create a task for the sales rep to contact him. So there's multiple ways, depending upon how that person behaved, you can send that person across a contact down that particular path. Okay, so that's why journeys are very, very useful for you to create that one-to-one personalized engagement. Okay, we talked about integration, right? So many of you have definitely worked in Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, and then like I said, Marketing Cloud is a totally different entity, it's a different org. So Salesforce has definitely come out with an integration package, which it's a managed package that you can install on Salesforce. It's called Marketing Cloud Connect. Okay, and using that, you have to go and configure it. You have to set up connected app permission sets, and there's a setup document that they are provided, which is easy to set up. And once that is done, you can have people your sales users or CRM users. You can have them send emails directly from Sales Cloud. There's a way that you can use a campaign or a lead or contact report. You can use that, and you can fetch an email that is configured in Marketing Cloud. Provided you have the access, you should be able to see that email in an interface in Sales Cloud. Okay, if this Marketing Cloud Connect is set up, and then you can say send this email out to your contacts or leads in that report. Okay, or you can even set up a triggered send based on an Apex trigger. So those configurations are all allowed. So you don't even have to leave your Sales Cloud instance to do that. Another option is if you want to bring in that data, your Sales Cloud data, like any contacts or leads, if you want to bring that into Marketing Cloud, and then if you want to segment it further and then send out marketing communications from within Marketing Cloud, or you want to put them into a journey, you can do that as well. Provide this integration is there. Okay. So if I go here into Contact Builder, so this is the data extension. So there is something called synchronized data extensions. And because I have integrated with my Sales Cloud instance, I have pulled in these 3 objects. I can pull in any of the objects that I want. I can pull in any of those data. If I want to bring in account, and as long as that can be configured, you can bring in any of those object data. Right now, I've only brought in campaign members, contacts, and leads. And then, they will show, okay, what are the fields that I've selected? What is the record count? So if I go into leads, it will show me okay, there is right now 28 records that are coming in. And anytime, there might be criteria that I've set up. Anytime a lead is created and that has a valid email, pull that person into this particular area. So they will come in with the specific lead ID, the Salesforce ID as the contact key. Okay, so I think we've covered most of the features. I just wanted to take a few minutes more, to quickly, give you some tips on, how do I, okay, what are the various career roles and how can I learn more about Salesforce, right? Sorry, Marketing Cloud. Sorry. So the various roles that you can come across in Marketing Cloud, probably the few of the ones that I've listed down here, you can have an administrator, who looks after the org and helps set up various features within Marketing Cloud. You can have a data analyst who's actually very good with managing the data, the reports, and also who's good in SQL, like how you saw earlier. Content creators are people who actually help with the content builder. You can create it using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and UI. Right? They're very good on UI frameworks. Developers, definitely there's a very sought after role, because you need to know how to customize and do development in Marketing Cloud using AMP-script, server-side JavaScript, and APIs. So APIs are also there. You can have REST and SOAP, and it's very, very useful for you to be able to customize that further. Okay, then definitely our email or channel marketers, who are the people who are the crux, the main core people who actually do the campaign management. They're sending out the communications, configuring the journeys, and all that. So they work with the rest of the team to do that. And then you have senior people like consultants, strategists, or architect, depending on the company how they call it. They are the ones who have been having years of experience, who actually guide the overall strategy. They look at big implementations, large programs. They review the integrations, design changes, etc. So they are the people who actually help with setting up and helping a client go through that customer journeys and all that. Okay. Now, like Anil said, there are various paths that you can take. If you're somebody who's very keen on being a developer or a programmer, and if you come from that background, like I said, there are a lot of online materials where you can go and learn AMP-script, SSJS, API programming. There's even custom journey builder activities that you can look at. if you are not very savvy into doing that much coding, there is definitely marketing automation. I believe Vikas will definitely talk about the scope of marketing automation overall and the importance of having that in a marketing tool. So in Marketing Cloud, there you can do that using Automation Studio, Journey Builder engagements, and all that. You probably don't need to know a lot of code for that. It's more of drag and drop interfaces, unless and until you're doing SSJS script activities. Few areas you might know, and SQL you might need to know a little bit, etc. To do those. But other than that, there are a lot of things that you can actually configure directly. It's a drag and drop or low code interfaces you can have. Or sometimes if you are into content development, if you know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you can do that as well. Okay, but there is definitely areas where you can actually contribute from a low code area, and areas that if you are really savvy as a programmer and you want to go into, that is also available as well. Okay, certifications, there are 4 certifications: Cloud Email Specialist, Developer, Administrator, and a Consultant. The developer prerequisite is email specialist, and the consultant one, the prerequisite is an administrator one. Okay, so I would highly recommend taking the email specialist and the admin first, so you'll get a very good idea of the whole framework. The email specialist ones focus specifically on email studio, journey builder, automations, and all that, and the data model. The administrator is a little more vast. It will actually cover across the platform. You need to know what are various tools as an admin, what are the things you need to configure, etc. Okay, and these are some of the resources that I've used in the past. I've even what I'll do is I will share the link, like I said earlier. So this is the list of video resources. I'll put that in chat. Okay, so if you see here, I've posted a lot of video links. All of these are video links, nothing to read about. So, and I've categorized it by various features areas that we saw today. So if you're interested in getting an overview, you can start with some of these videos. If you want to study more into Email Studio, if you want to know more about Journey Builder, Marketing Cloud Connect, all these things, all these videos are very, very useful. You can go and start looking into some of this. If you're a developer, you can look at the programming area. If you're looking at specific areas that from some of the community meetings that we have had in the past, you can look at those areas as well. If you're looking at certification, so we have had boot camps that have been done in the past, like Anil was saying earlier, the email specialist. We had the admin boot camp also. The consultant one, we have one ongoing right now. Jyotsna is actually doing that. So once that is up, I'll definitely go ahead and update the channel. And then there are different YouTube channels that you can actually follow as well. Okay, so there are a lot of great content, as you can see, some of the videos that we have posted that you can go and learn from if you wish to. Okay, that's all I had from a content perspective. Anil, should we take Q&A first before I